Hello, I'm Richard Steele. I work at the Rehabilitation Research and Development Center at the Veterans Administration Medical Center in Palo Alto, California. I'm the principal investigator on a project to develop C-VIC, which stands for Computer-Based Visual Communication. C-VIC is a software package which has been designed to assist in aphasia rehabilitation. It's a very versatile interface, and what we'll see today is a version which has been specifically designed to support recipe preparation. Aphasia is the acquired inability to use language because of brain damage. People who are aphasic can be unable to read, to write, to understand when they're spoken to express their own thoughts in language, and unable to learn to use sign language or alternative means of communication that are based on natural language.
We'll see our subject preparing noodles using the recipe you see here. Icons can be displayed in the large format, which can be useful since the detail in the larger format helps them to identify the various objects accurately. Icons are draggable into the dialog box at the bottom of the screen. Here they can be arranged into communication phrases, and they can be translated into English to provide additional support for C-VIC users. Often, those users perform best when they receive instructions in both iconic and spoken or written form. In these recipes, each step is translated by a single phrase. The phrase that you see on the screen here, for example, means the chef puts the pot on the stove. Icons are animatable. This helps to convey the meaning of verbs, such as pour, stir, and boil. The animations are brief, containing 20 frames and lasting a second or two. C-VIC is entirely controlled by the mouse. In fact, we remove the keyboard altogether from C-VIC computers, since aphasic users can't type. They operate the interface entirely by pointing, clicking, and dragging. In this communication, which means the chef sets the timer for 10 minutes, we see an animation being used for an item which is not a verb, a minute. This screen shows how we express a contingency, specifically when the timer rings, an action is carried out. In this case, the action to be carried out is draining the noodles. The interface can be pre-programmed for specific uses, such as recipe preparation illustrated here. Communication phrases may be organized in large windows for simultaneous display, or put into hierarchical tree structures for serial display, as in these recipes. The application is compact. It's programmed in Mac 4th and allows entire recipes to be stored on a single 800K Macintosh diskette. These diskettes can be taken home by C-VIC users who can accumulate a library of such recipes. At the end of the C-VIC recipe, you get to the payoff. Everybody gathers around the table and eats the noodles. We're now in the home of one of our subjects, and what we'll see today is how well he performs using our system in preparing a recipe. This is JN. JN has been aphasic since 1974 when he was involved in a motorcycle accident. The recipe being prepared in these shots is Noodle-Roni's garlic and butter noodles. It uses 6 ingredients: water, milk, salt, butter, noodles, and a spice mixture supplied with the noodles. The C-VIC recipe contains 17 steps altogether, 3 of which, steps 2, 5, and 8, are add 2 teaspoons of salt to the saucepan, put the noodles into the saucepan, and add 1/2 cup of milk to the saucepan. This is what you're seeing here. When using C-VIC in this application, the user is on his own. He operates the interface independently, moves at his own pace, and can review or preview steps at his discretion. The task of the user is to move through the steps, performing each one correctly in proper sequence. If steps are all done correctly and in order, the dish will be properly prepared. If steps are misinterpreted or reordered, there may be a problem, as with all recipes. To evaluate C-VIC interface use, we record what steps are displayed, what icons are animated, and what actions are taken by the user. 2 evaluators are present at each session to establish inter-rater reliability for the observations. The evaluators do not intervene to correct or give assistance in such sessions, but the recipe preparer is free to use the computer whenever and however he chooses. Here the evaluators are checking to see that the subject has poured out the correct amount of milk. The individual shown in this tape has participated in 10 such sessions to date. He performs individual steps functionally once they've been displayed to him, approximately 80% of the time on average, and accesses animations approximately 60% of the time. In his 10 trials, he's successfully produced edible dishes in 9 out of 10 sessions.
Recipe preparation is just one of the directions that the C-VIC project has taken. Others include therapeutic uses for people who are recovering from aphasia and facilitating dialogue between aphasic individuals and normal individuals. The gentleman that you saw in the tape today is able to prepare recipes using the application you've seen, and he derives specific benefits from it. These include enabling him to do something which otherwise he's incapable of doing, occupying his time productively, and preparing meals which he can either eat himself or share with family and friends. So everyone's happy when he's cooking with Vic.